ॐ रत्नाकराधौतपदां हिमालयकिरीटिने ब्रह्मराजर्षिरत्नाढ्यां वन्दे भारतमातरम्. Namaste. In the previous session, we understood that it is necessary to understand the cultural values in order to develop technologies which is better suited for a country. Products and services which do not understand the way of living of their consumers will fail. But that is not the real problem. The issue we should worry is people simply don't use a technical product. They consume a culture. Companies which make a product does not simply satisfy a human need. More often, they create a new human need. And they also transplant a cultural ecosystem around it. Let me explain. Take aerated soft drinks. Why are they needed? Do they quench the thirst during a hot summer day? Yes, that they do. But they just don't do only that. A person has lot of choices when he is thirsty. He can drink water or fresh juice or anything. But when he picks up a soft drink, he is also making a statement. He is saying, "Hey, look here, I am hip and modern." That is what I am saying is particularly dangerous. While consuming a product or a service, we make a statement. That aspirational value attached with the product is sometimes more important than the product itself. That is what is popularly called as brand value. So, the logo of a particular phone and laptop becomes more important and valuable for its users than the actual potential of the product itself. Many of the users may not even know the technicalities of that particular phone brand, but the logo which they can promptly show to everyone becomes more important for them. What we have to understand here is, how did a technology reach here in the first place? Some science definitely is behind every technology. A brilliant mind packages the science in which he sees some utility, adds some marketing brilliance around it, and abracadabra, a magical super brand is created. I am not saying there is no technical brilliance, but there is something more than that. There are many other factors which make a product work in a market. So, as students of technology, we should be well aware of the value system surrounding our work. The designs we do, the products we build, the services we provide have to internalize these things. Only then we can deliver better goods for the society. Let us begin this journey by looking at the most basic theory called relativism. Remember, We are in the process of determining the value system surrounding the technology. Naturally, we are interested in answering the question, is this good or bad? That is the question which needs to be answered with regard to a technology that we develop. Is this soap good or bad? Is this app good or bad? Is this spacecraft good or bad? Now, how to decide these questions? Remember, we are asking the question good or bad and not some technical things like whether it is efficient or whether it is useful. For that, there are other kinds of evaluation systems available. Here, the judgment is mostly value based. So, we have to search for some frameworks which we can use for our evaluation. There are quite a few of such frameworks available. They are not directly related to technology. Nevertheless, we can use them, modify them, and use it for our need. From now on, we will be doing this, studying how to evaluate technology with different frameworks. Today, we will start with relativism. Relativism is for starters. It has a very simple theory. It says, look, there is nothing absolute in this world. All are relative. What is good for me may look bad to you, and vice versa. So let's accept it. Remember that famous statement? Beauty is in the eyes of beholder. So it's fine. You keep your opinion while I keep mine. Let's be happy together. The end. So simple, right? Free will, individualism, democracy. Wow, we have pretty much covered the entire dictionary of liberals. This theory is very appealing for anyone. That's how all false theories are. In our tradition, there is a school of thought called Charvaka. Actually, we don't know the name of the theory because it was sweet to listen to, persuading in nature. It was called Charu Walk, literally meaning sweet talk. Remember, truth will always be bitter, not false prepositions. If some things appear very sweet, very appealing, be careful. Most of the times, it's pretentious. So, this theory of relativism, which appears very appealing, should be approached cautiously. In our tradition, it was the greatest philosopher Adi Shankaracharya who cautioned and contextualized this theory. We will now briefly look into his take on this topic. Most of you may have heard the truism propounded by Adi Shankara, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. It is very popularly translated as world is illusion and God alone is real. Well, finally we may arrive at this conclusion, but there is a way to reach there which is usually not understood. Let us try and attempt to understand this statement, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya. Many people, including prominent philosophers, have been criticizing the notion that the world cannot be an illusion. Come on, how can the world that we see daily and interact every minute be false? They ask. If the world we understand through our sense itself is not reliable, Then what else is? They ask. They are right. It is very difficult to understand the simple statement. Fortunately, commentators and realized souls have tried to explain the nuances of this statement. Now, let us look at an example. Say you are going in a car. You are sitting in the back seat and reading a book. The car is going fast in a smooth highway. For someone looking from outside, the car is moving. But what about you? Do you feel the same? No. For you, the car is as good as it is in rest. Your reading is not disturbed at all, so you don't feel the motion. For you, the car is at rest. For an external observer, it is moving. Who is right? Both of you. That is what Shankara also says. The phenomena in this world is not absolute. It's always relative. So when we say Jagan Mithya, we say world is relative and not world is illusion. Take another example. You're sitting in a chair. Are you sitting in a higher position or lower position? That depends on who is looking at you. For someone watching you from floor, you are at a higher position. For someone looking at you from balcony, you are in a lower position. So, things are relative in this world. Today, science has very much accepted this. All of you are well aware of theories which are based on these principles. Einstein's relativity and Heisenberg's uncertainty theories all are manifestations of this ancient Indian knowledge formalized as Jagan Mithya Brahma Satya. Friends, recall that we had started with a question to ascertain the value judgment of technology. We had to decide whether a technology is good or bad. After much turnaround, we are now saying this is not possible. Everything is relative. It can be good for some and the same can be bad for others. So, where does it leave us? Firstly, this theory is a good starting point because it helps us understand the other side of the story. Now, you take a knife. You can argue that it is good because it helps us cut vegetables and fruits. But immediately someone says, look, you can also slice someone's neck with it. Oh, yes. So what, you may ask? The designer did not foresee all its possible uses. How can a designer be responsible for its misuse, you may ask? Fair enough. The designer made knife with good intention, but later someone thought it's good enough to kill someone. Agreed. But after so long, when we knew it is being misused, isn't it our responsibility to reduce its risk? And moreover, the knife does not kill anyone. It's the human who uses the knife to kill. The human agency is necessary for all tools. Fine, all these arguments will not lead us anywhere, you may say. Okay, let's take another example. A gun. Can someone say there was some noble purpose which was planned for a gun and accidentally someone discovered it can also kill someone? Well, I leave it to your good sense to take this argument forward. Let me give a final topic for your free time debate. Computer. What do you think? Is it good? Bad? Both? How does one decide? Discuss, deliberate, and enjoy. Friends, we have been looking at this theory of relativism for a while now. What do we conclude? Well, for now, let's just say relativism was good enough to start, but it does not provide enough tools to evaluate any technology. We need better theories. We need more formal systems to continue our work. That we will see in the next part of this series. प्रकृतिः पञ्चभूतानि ग्रहालोकास्वरास्तथा दिशः कालाश्च सर्वेषं सदा कुर्वतु मङ्गलम्.